Sustaining magic moments is the topic of this podcast. I'm Belinda Densley, a PhD candidate, and my research is investigating the important role of facilitating singing groups who gather for fun and well-being. The first step of the process from episode 1 was advocacy. In episode 2, song curation. In episode 3, welcoming harmonious expression. And today we look at sustaining harmonious expression.
There's a vivification. People start to become alive in a different way.
As discussed in previous episodes, processes are not directly linear. Shortly we'll look at two concepts, adapting and connecting. These are very important to support the overall category of welcoming and sustaining songful harmonious expression. But generally speaking, after cultivating safety and then song building, facilitators strive to sustain magic moments. So firstly, what are magic moments? And next, how are they sustained?
You know how it is when it's really working. Yeah, it's almost difficult to describe, isn't it? You had to be there.
I know there is a well of sound possibility. And what I do is start a wave and do everything I can to equip the people in the circle in the room to join me on that wave. And then we ride the wave. And at the end, we feel amazing.
You know that feeling of you're in the zone where your troubles fall away and you're all in the same place, on the same page, and for a moment there, it's just perfect.
Everything falls away, everything falls away, everything falls to rise and then all falls away. Oh, everything falls away.
I think it's good to have those moments in your life.
The magic of the moment of singing those notes, all the endorphins that are released in good harmony, all of that rush of music is something I find very, very powerful. And to be able to do that with your voice, because it's your entire body. It's not, you don't have an external instrument to carry that or to rely on. It's just your body and you feel it within your body. I really believe in the magic that happens when you sing together.
So we know it feels amazing, we know it happens, and we know that in the existing research literature, this feeling has been called magic. But what does magic mean? Because this isn't pulling a rabbit out of a hat. It's not a trick. It's co-created and it has specific ingredients. The feelings of being in the magic seem to approximate mindfulness, joy, the zone, transcendence, or bliss. People can describe the feeling of a release of hormones, including the bonding chemical oxytocin or the feel-good hormone of dopamine or endorphins. But facilitators aren't neuroscientists, and even if they were, describing the feelings of release is still only naming the effects of the process. It's likely within the participant group there's highly personal and unique hormonal shifts from person to person. The facilitators I spoke with could talk about what they did to enable and sustain the magic. It has to do with the expression of a range of ideas and emotions that traverse the territory from joy to grief and everything in between. We heard in episode 2, when talking about song selection, that the material needs to be relevant to a whole range of situations humans encounter. The expression of these in harmony with others is the magic being chased.
I did have to ask you this because I have these imaginations that I don't often get to share with people, but I wonder if you've probably got a similar one or a different one. But I have this, when you see sound waves made visible by water or sand or fire or something like that.
I do.
Yeah, and then this standing in a circle, and I just have this. It's almost like a bit psychedelic. I have this sort of imagination of the patterns, energetic patterns that are created in this circle with the sounds and the waveforms of when I'm singing and when these moments happen where I'm in the circle as one of the participants and we're having these moments and I see the children, see the babies like magic. They are held. As soon as you start chatting, they're back in their unless they've got a need to be met. But in these moments, the sheer beauty of this imagination that fills the circle and then beyond, that's just like being just becoming us. It's like There's nothing else like it, is there?
I suggest this is chasing eudaimonia. Eudaimonia is a concept developed literally ages ago in the writings of Greek philosopher Aristotle. It's a concept of wellness or well-being that predates the wellness industry that we've come to know on social media, that predates the mental health epidemic that's gripped society, particularly post-COVID, and predates the notion of therapeutic work. Therapy is concerned with addressing disease or disorder, but eudaimonia emphasises the well in well-being. It's a concept of flourishing, fulfilment and thriving that's not even solely individual, but a sense of communal expression of both the happy and the not happy range of human emotions.
And then where are we going was your next question. That's such a good question. For me, we're going towards bliss. We're going towards something that is deeply satisfying. We're going towards deep sense of connection, satisfaction, open-hearted awareness, and a sense of community and belonging.
Modern therapy recognises the importance of holding multiple emotions as true. Just glance at any of the third wave postmodern therapeutic approaches such as acceptance commitment therapy, dialectic behavioural therapy, and perhaps healers from all traditions throughout time have known the importance of holding both joy and grief. The argument here is not that facilitators aim to heal, to soothe or fix. They use their song and relational skills to sustain expression beyond spoken words where the entire being can be involved in feeling.
And like, just keep the energy of the song, keep it with you. And that, I think, holds everyone in the experience of the song. And when you stop and say, okay, well, we're now going to learn the altos, or we're going to learn that, it's like the focus goes. And even if I have to give an instruction, I'll demonstrate with my hand that the song's still going. And that takes some experience. But so what that is that the song is just there the whole time holding. I'm just really immersed. It's a very present practice. That's why it's so enjoyable. Super present.
My research was known as a grounded theory design. It's an iterative process where analysis is constant, always comparing the data from one interview to the next and checking back with the participants as theories develop. Here I'm talking to Kathy and I'm using her terminology of director and running by an idea that was developing in the data. Trying to chase that magic moment that is bigger than the sum of its parts, and that the director doesn't assume that moment will arrive, but strives for it and recognises it when it gets there. Does that feel right to you?
Not only does that feel right, everything you've said is absolutely right, but I think the choir participants recognise, most, maybe not all, but most choir participants recognise it when it gets there too, because it's a different sensation, it's a different embodiment, it's a different, almost a physical response as well as an emotional and sort of spiritual response. When it gets to that other side of, when it gets beyond the individual responsibility, I guess, to the group and gets bigger than that, it's a whole different thing for the singers, as certainly for the director. But I think that you're the way you've said it is great, that you're constantly striving for that, you're chasing that thing of, can we just get over the knowing the notes and get on to the next bit, because that's the magical part.
Lay down, lay down, lay it all down, let your white bird smile up at the ones who stand and frown.
Singing facilitators know this matters to participants. They're repeatedly told by participants how magic they feel, and this is why they sequence the songs out from fun and playful into those that are rich, soulful, and likely to move people, literally. Facilitators use a range of skills to sustain these moments. They recognise the moment, they're reverent with it, they gesture for repeats of the song to keep it alive, or they play with the dynamics to keep the song fresh. Maybe gesturing for it to be sung more softly will extend the moment and deepen the expression. What singing facilitators are trying to arouse is a connection between the participant and the song, between the participant and one another, between the song and the group as a whole.
Everybody, I think, interprets lyrics and emotions different to every song. Like, you'll have 30 people in a group, and everyone will have a different take on it slightly. They might be similar, but they're different. So if I'm performing as a solo artist or with a band, I have visual images in my mind of those lyrics that help me to find the emotion that I need to express myself. Whereas with the choir, you have to facilitate everybody's emotions, and you can't step on it in any way, otherwise they feel disempowered. So you have to try and find a way of allowing them to express themselves And they don't have to tell the whole group exactly what they think.
Connection is vital, and hand in hand with connection is the ability to arouse it, and that requires adapting. Let's look at connecting and adapting together. Kathy here talks about how she makes time in the session for participants to talk about the songs. One of her participants shared a personal story about a song they'd all been singing together.
There's a newish woman in the choir who, it turned out, and I did not know this, it turned out her husband died in the last 6 months. And she spoke and talked about this song, Fall on Me, and how incredibly important it's been for her, both in the learning of it and the singing of it and the listening to it and everything. Because for her, it just has been all about her husband's death. And I'd never thought about that song like that before in that context. She says this song has been so profoundly important for her in her grieving and recovery. It's another way for people to listen to one another and to build community. And when people hear stories like that, someone that they probably also don't know very well, like that means their relationship and their understanding have forever changed. Even though we didn't know her husband had died. Like she didn't come to us saying, my husband died, can you hold me? Or I'm looking for a grief. You know, we didn't know that. We just held her because she was new and she was lovely. And
that space that you've created for her to express her relationship with the song has accelerated intimacy.
Yes, and connection.
Things aren't always rainbows and starlight. We're talking about group facilitation, and in that, things don't always go smoothly. A lot of facilitators talked about managing group dynamics. Some have codes of conduct, some have rules, and it was clear too that through on-the-job experience and even translation of skills from other fields, that with experience came the ability to centre the song, not the behaviour, and to adapt to the course of connection.
As an inexperienced singing leader, I always went to, oh shit, I've done something they don't like, I've said something, I cracked a joke, and they're taking offence, or they're hating this, or they're not comfortable with the people around, or whatever. I've gone home beating myself up. But now I've learned to go, okay, I have a bunch of skills that I can apply here. Sometimes it'll be something like, can I get you to come over here and do this part, please? And I don't say because this person's not whatever. I just get that person because I know they're going to, at least sonically, vocally, help that person.
The skill that does go into being a facilitator of any kind. And then the additional aspect of bringing music to that is, it's incredible work that we do.
I've reached a point of flow now, and it really feels like that. So I rock up. When I say unprepared, I mean unprepared, but in my head I've got ideas. And it now it can sometimes become like one song, and and as I'm doing something with them, something else is coming into my head, and I'll go into that and everything. So it becomes this real flow state, and I really trust my instincts with it all. I feel proud of getting to this point, 20 odd years, to where I can rely on something in me that just leads me through that hour or that hour and a half.
Over the last 3 episodes, we've spoken about the process of singing facilitation. It starts with advocacy for singing participation, community building, well-being, and the work itself. It's important. In episode 2, we talked about song curation, selection, development, framing, and sharing. In this episode, we talked about how facilitators welcome and sustain songful, harmonious expression. They cultivate safety, build songs, and sustain magic moments. Magic is a felt expression in body and mind. It brings forth a range of feelings and connections to self and others that links to a concept of eudaimonia. In doing this, facilitators are continually adapting and arousing connections between songs and the participants. Why? Why do they do it? Remember in episode 1 we talked about advocacy for the role? Because singing facilitators feel misunderstood and undervalued. They also absolutely love their work.
I've created the wave, and the wave is ongoing. And I take a moment to stop being out the front of the wave, to just allow the wave to wash over me. And I am incredibly deeply touched and fed by that wave. We all do things, we think we're doing it for other people, but ultimately we're pretty motivated to just create the situation that we most want in life. And that would be my idea of bliss.
Yeah.
Be in the middle of a heavenly choir singing beautiful harmony. It's like, hello, I'll be there.
I feel the same way, and that's why I'm undertaking a doctorate, to seek to explain what this work is, that it is work, and that it matters.
I love to see them close their eyes. Oh, I would take them by
Which brings us to the next episode, Why It Matters, Transforming Communities. Join me and the voices of the beautiful facilitators generously participating in this research to learn that communities are literally transformed by this work in the room and far beyond.
And when you find trouble and doubt all around you, follow your dream, follow your song.
For a list of song credits and contributing participants who might have a singing group near you, please read the credit notes.